Fox 45 News continues to follow the fallout at Morgan State University, the latest on the search for the suspects involved. Adnan Syed appearing in Maryland's highest court, the latest in his efforts to overturn his murder conviction. And breaking news, a Russian strike killing more than 50 people in Ukraine. Will be breaking down the latest details.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Continuing coverage on the Morgan State shooting tonight as police search for this group of people caught on camera near the incident. On Tuesday night, 5 people were shot on the campus. 4 of them are students. Police believe there was a dispute between 2 groups of people that led to the gunfire. All of the victims believed to be bystanders who were hit by stray bullets. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Thanks for staying with us. We begin tonight with Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor, who has the very latest on the investigation into the shooting.
Mary and Kai, there's still a somber tone on campus today. In fact, we've seen more police walking around than students as classes and homecoming are canceled and the search for a suspect continues.
There should be crowds, streets and sidewalks full of students, staff, parents, and returning alumni this week.
Things are like quiet, everyone's gone.
Instead, Morgan State University feels like a ghost town.
It's like they took away like our safe space.
With classes canceled and homecoming celebrations on hold, the majority of those living on campus seen packing their bags and heading home.
Experiencing that was a lot. I needed to be away for a second to actually like take the time and actually like adjust what just happened to me, because whether or not you were there, whether you've seen it, whether you heard it, it still happened on your campus. Go like hug your parents, be safe.
And as campus clears out, police still searching for those involved in Wednesday's mass shooting.
Shots are coming outside onto the ground. Everyone, get down, take cover. Take cover, take cover.
Following an eruption of gunfire outside Thurgood Marshall Hall.
It was just like a ton of shots in a row, and then it stopped, and then more shots in a row.
SWAT teams seen storming the dorms.
They're going up, 6 foot.
An hours-long lockdown ensued, but the suspect, or suspects, managing to get away.
We know that there was at least more than one person with a weapon. The problem is the ballistics has to tell us how many guns there were that were shot.
Overnight, BPD releasing this video, asking for help identifying these 4 persons of interest spotted near the scene where 5 people were shot, 4 of them students.
To me, I couldn't really see anything in the pictures.
I can't really see much or like who it is.
With no clear answers in sight until a motive is known and those responsible in custody.
Media flights, people are talking about transferring.
Students say it's also unclear when or if they plan to return.
Everybody's just telling you, like, I don't know when I'm gonna come back.
Police say none of the victims were the shooter's intended target. Of those victims, we now know that 2 have been released from the hospital and the other 3 are expected to make full recoveries. Reporting from Morgan State University, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
And as we mentioned yesterday, Morgan State University is canceling or postponing all of the homecoming activities planned for the rest of the week that are on campus. That news coming from the university's president. All on-campus events except the homecoming football game and homecoming gala will be canceled. Those 2 events are being postponed. New dates have not yet been announced. All classes are canceled for the rest of the week, and you can find more information on our website, foxbaltimore.com. Well, Adnan Syed was in Maryland's highest court today, an appeal that could decide if he remains a free man and could set precedent for victims' rights in future cases. Fox 45's Maxine Stryker was in Annapolis for that hearing. She has the very latest.
The Maryland Supreme Court is hearing arguments deciding whether or not to reinstate Syed's guilty findings, sending him back to prison, or throwing out his conviction in what's been a more than year-long legal saga. At the center of the debate, victims' rights. In Maryland Supreme Court Thursday, Adnan Syed's freedom was back on the line. Syed served more than 20 years in prison for the killing of Hae-Min Lee in 1999. His case becoming the subject of national attention thanks to the podcast Serial. But he's been a free man for more than a year after a Baltimore judge threw out his conviction when evidence was uncovered regarding other possible suspects.
Adnan has been home with his family for a little more than a year now. after decades of fighting to prove his innocence.
At the center of Thursday's hearing, Heyman Lee's brother, young Lee's, writes Lee was unable to attend the hearing in person that set Syed free, instead making a statement over Zoom.
Mr. Lee was not given adequate notice, was not given the right to attend the criminal justice proceeding, and was not given a meaningful right to be heard. That's all we're asking for.
He then filed an appeal arguing his rights were violated, saying he wasn't given sufficient notice. But before a ruling was made, Syed's charges were dropped. A Maryland appeals court in March ordered a new hearing and reinstated Syed's conviction, saying Lee's rights to notice and attend were violated. But the appeals court also found Lee did not have a right to be heard at the hearing. And then the Maryland Supreme Court stepped in, agreeing to take up appeals from both sides today, considering whether Baltimore City Court violated the rights of Lee. Lee's attorneys are urging the Supreme Court to recognize the rights of victims and their representatives to participate.
We're asking the Maryland Supreme Court to uphold those rights, to send this case back down to the trial court and mandate that the state present evidence, whatever evidence it has, so that we can see that evidence, we can examine that evidence, and you, the public, can examine that evidence so that we all can make a judgment as to what happened here.
Syed's attorneys argue the point was moot when prosecutors dropped charges ending the criminal case against him, and Lee's rights were not violated because he attended virtually.
This appeal is about whether Mr. Lee's rights were satisfied by his remote attendance at the vacatur hearing, and whether the state had the power to decide it no longer wished to prosecute a case it did not believe in.
Syed himself speaking out after the hearing in the name of justice for him, his family, and the Lee family.
We just wanted to say thank you to everybody for over all these years who just provided us with all the support and the encouragement. Our family, it just means so much to us, and we look forward to hearing the court's decision, and we're hoping that in the end, you know, we'll have a chance to prove justice, not just for Hayes' family, but for our family as well.
The justices will issue an opinion at a later date. Reporting in Annapolis, Maxine Stryker, Fox 45 News.
Well, 1 week after accused rapist and murderer Jason Billingsley was taken into custody, questions still remain about the handling of that investigation. One of the most pressing being, why didn't Baltimore police alert the public about Billingsley sooner? Initially, Baltimore Police Commissioner Richard Worley said the violent home invasion, rape, and arson Billingsley was accused of committing before Pavel Aper's murder wasn't random, and that putting his information out there would have required protection for the victims, and agents were actively tracking him. Days later, Councilman Eric Costello said Worley had admitted Billingsley's information should have gone out sooner. And now Mayor Scott says crimes such as rape must reach Worley's chain of command. One law enforcement expert telling Fox 45 that shouldn't be the case.
In any kind of investigation of a violent crime should have known immediately to put his information out, because it was clear from just basic police training, from the patrol officer to the commissioner, that his information needed to go out.
Worley did issue an apology to the victims of the home invasion, rape, and arson incident, saying it was not his intent to victim blame them.
Fox 45 is following breaking news out of Ukraine, where a missile strike has killed at least 51 people, including a child, in an eastern Ukrainian village. It marks one of the deadliest attacks against civilians since that conflict began. A warning, this video will be hard for some viewers to watch. Ukraine's presidential office says that attack happened after noon local time at a grocery store and cafe. Officials say the bodies of the deceased, including a 6-year-old boy, have been recovered from the destroyed buildings. The bodies of 29 victims have been identified, and this attack comes as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Spain to attend a summit of around 50 European leaders. In a statement, Zelensky called the attack a, quote, demonstrably brutal Russian crime. The White House condemned the strike as well, calling it horrifying.
We have to stop and think about this. Let's stop and think about what we're seeing. 49 innocent people who were killed by a Russian airstrike while they were shopping for food at a supermarket. That's what they were doing. And so can you imagine just walking to the grocery store with your kids, trying to figure out what is it that you're going to make for dinner, and you see an explosion happen where bodies are everywhere. And it's horrifying.
Well, meantime, according to the latest death toll, the attack wiped out a fifth of the village, which was home to about 300 people. Mary?
Kai, thank you. Former President Donald Trump once again asking a federal judge to delay his classified documents trial. The failures, he says, warrant a delay.
A major change in policy at the southern border, with several miles of new wall now set to be constructed. I'm Christine Frizzell with a look at the major about-face by the Biden administration.
And an early look at the O's forecast for Saturday at 1 p.m. as we begin postseason baseball. Looks like showers moving on as we head into first pitch in the 5th and 9th inning for that Big O's win. Blustery cool, temperatures in the 60s, but devoid of a whole lot of rain. I'm going to let you know how long the cool lasts in my Weather Authority forecast.
Attorneys for former President Donald Trump are asking once again for a federal judge to delay the trial regarding his handling of classified documents. Trump's attorneys claim there were discovery failures by special counsel Jack Smith's office that warrants pushing back the trial until mid-November. For now, the trial is set to begin in May. Today, Trump's civil fraud trial continued, though, in New York, with the former president opting to skip today's proceedings. New York's Attorney General posted a video to Twitter earlier today where she says nothing will stop her from holding Trump accountable.
The laws of this great state and nation apply equally to everyone, even Donald Trump. And it is my duty and my responsibility to ensure that the law is enforced and upheld. And I refuse to back down or to be bullied.
Trump, along with his sons, Eric and Donald Jr., and Trump organization executives are accused of engaging in a decades-long scheme to inflate Trump's net worth. The former president has denied all wrongdoing. Well, tonight, with new records being broken at the southern border in terms of the sheer number of people coming into the United States, the Biden administration has given the green light for the border wall construction to resume. 20 miles of new barriers to be built in Starr County, Texas, is now set to begin with funding previously set aside that was expected to expire. National correspondent Christine Frizzau has details.
Mary, we're talking about 20 miles of new border barrier in Starr County, Texas. The funding for this was previously set aside and set to expire. The White House tonight saying they're simply following the law. A change of heart and of policy at the southern border. The White House restarting construction of a border wall because President Biden says the money allocated for it was set to expire, but also saying this.
Do you believe the border wall works?
No.
So the Biden administration has decided to waive 26 federal laws to carry out expeditious construction of new border barriers in Texas, posting this notice to the Federal Registry citing an acute and immediate need to prevent unlawful entries. It's a sharp pivot from what candidate Joe Biden said in 2020.
There will not be another foot of wall constructed on my administration.
Former President Trump immediately asking if Joe Biden would apologize to him and America for taking so long. The decision comes as tens of thousands of migrants have come to the United States in recent days, and top officials like Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, Attorney General Merrick Garland, and Secretary of State Antony Blinken are in Mexico, meeting with officials there at a time of increasing pressure for the White House to do more. New York City Mayor Eric Adams himself traveling to Mexico City this week, telling migrants not to come.
We want to make sure that we have a great level of transparency of the challenges that we are facing.
His city overrun after more than a year of migrants being sent there. And this was the scene in Chicago.
We're not anti-migrants, but it shouldn't be on our backs.
Residents furious. A local community field house was turned into a migrant shelter without their consent.
We lose this. You know how far our kids have to go to do activities?
President Biden's decision on the border wall is being slammed by some environmentalists, but celebrated by many Democrats, concerned by recent polls showing their party is being overwhelmingly blamed for the crisis. Mary?
Well, if you're looking for a deal this holiday season, your best bet is to shop online. Adobe Analytics predicts retailers will offer up to 35% off listed prices with the deepest discounts on toys, electronics, and clothing. Consumers will likely spend around $221 billion online shopping starting in November through the end of the year. And here's a sneak peek at just some of the discounts expected. Electronics up to 30% off, clothing up to 25% off, sporting goods 24% off, TVs 22%, furniture and bedding up to 11% off.
Fox Triplecast this evening, looking good. Mile 1 Taos Cam, Toyota East Harbor Sky Cam over beautiful Camden Yards, up to 81 this afternoon. But waiting in the wings, our next weather maker on the HD radar, and we are tracking that closely as it moves ever so slowly closer to us. And I think by tonight there could be a couple of sprinkles, actually maybe moving off of the Atlantic Ocean and actually kind of backing in, kind of getting grouped together with some of this moisture. And then the actual system, the weather maker, if you will, coming in for tomorrow night and Saturday morning. Double cold front right now. Those will combine and give us a good punch of some cool air behind this. First, the rain. Again, we'll see a sprinkle tonight, maybe a light shower tomorrow. Better chance of some showers, I think, tomorrow night into Saturday. And then the big cool down roll south. Look at the blues and the purples overtaking. There's a big bowl here of cold air, pretty much the entire East Coast by this weekend. So a huge pattern change. Right now, Mile 1 Towson Cam, some clouds in the background as the moisture begins to accrue. Winds out of the southeast at 7. Our humidity at 60%. Feels like temperature just 1 degree warmer than the actual temperature at 79. It's 78 here in Baltimore now, 75 at Cockeysville, 73 at Bel Air, 70s pretty much area-wide after that high of 81 today. We are cooler by a little bit, just a smidge, than we were yesterday at the same time, but 10 to 15 degrees colder than 24 hours ago. And that's central Ohio's temperatures all the way west. I think that's going to be us into the weekend. Now, taking a look out in the tropics, there's Philippe. That's got winds at 50 miles an hour, heads up toward potentially either southern Canada or eastern Maine by this weekend. Potentially could also roll over Bermuda with some tropical storm conditions. Should not be any impacts really around here. Maybe some higher than average seas down the ocean. And then a low chance of development off the west coast of Africa. So the forecast for tonight, there's that spot sprinkler shower here or there through tomorrow morning. Could see a spotting shower during the day tomorrow as well with extra clouds, high temperatures nearing 80. And there's the rain just in time for the O's game. Yes, 1 p.m. Saturday begins to move east. So tonight, 62, mostly cloudy, stray shower. Don't expect the fog that we had this morning. One more warm day for tomorrow, 79 spot shower. I'm going to let you know how long we're going to stay with the cooler temperatures in my exclusive 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A cold front brought storms to Tulsa, Oklahoma on Wednesday. It's a sign of things to come. High temperatures will only be in the mid-60s by Saturday. The northern lights shine in Spokane, Washington as a weather balloon is ready for launch. And long considered one of the best scenic drives in the country, New Hampshire's Kancamagus Highway is alive with fall colors.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
The largest healthcare strike in U.S. history now in its second day. The demands nurses and staff are asking for from Kaiser Permanente. The largest healthcare strike in U.S. history is now in its second day after more than 75,000 Kaiser Permanente workers began walking off the job on Wednesday. Workers are demanding better pay and a solution to fix a chronic staffing shortage. Emily Gersh from our Sinclair sister station in Portland, Oregon has the story.
Patients are angry. Patients are angry with wait times. They're angry that they can't get in to see, primary care or specialty care for months at a time, just because we simply don't have the staff to see everyone.
Eldina Hodzik is a nurse at Kaiser Permanente Sunnyside. She says she's striking for better patient care.
The urgent care that we work at is an extremely high demand location. It's always busy. It's almost always short-staffed, whether it's like nurses, providers. They have a hard time dishing out like the overtime, so they'd rather us just kind of be short-staffed sometimes.
Hodzik is one of about 75,000 Kaiser Permanente healthcare workers who walked off the job Monday, demanding better staffing and wages.
It's hard to keep people in healthcare these days because of staffing.
A spokesperson for Kaiser agrees, writing in a statement, quote, "Every healthcare provider in the nation has been facing staffing shortages and fighting burnout." The statement also says Kaiser pays more than competitors, but the union doesn't agree.
Kaiser's accusations that our members are overpaid is just outrageous. We know that it's been difficult for all working people to make ends meet when we see the high price of gas, the high price of groceries, and all of those things going up, and Kaiser workers' wages have not gone up to meet them.
Kaiser says its current offer includes a $21 minimum wage in Washington and Oregon, and wage increases of 12.5% over 4 years. But workers think Kaiser can do better.
You can go online and see how much a CNA is paid here, and you can look at LinkedIn to see what they're paying at other locations, and you'll see that other locations actually, in fact, pay more than Kaiser does.
As for Hodzik, she and her fiance share the bills, but she says the industry has deteriorated from what it used to be, and everyone is feeling it.
It is hard. We both work overtime as much as we can. It's hard to live. It's definitely hard to live these days.
All right, your exclusive 10-day forecast, near 84 tomorrow. One more day with some spot showers here and there. Nothing to really cancel plans. Mainly morning showers for the big day here on Saturday as the O's are back in town for postseason baseball. During game time, I think most light rain moving out, although it'll be breezy and cool. Temperatures in the 60s, 61. That's the best we do on Sunday. And it stays in the 60s early next week before a warm-up. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday stays in the mid-70s to wrap up next week.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, finally tonight, we have a pretty big otter pup date from the Maryland Zoo tonight. Take a look at this. The zoo sharing these photos of Nora, the otter pup, exploring the river otter habitat for the very first time. The zoo says Nora is still adjusting to her new space, and that big changes like this, it takes a little time for the little pup to feel comfortable out there. Well, that's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud's up next. We'll see you back here for the news at 10 tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.